And a very happy Tuesday to you at 12:09 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
John, I know that it's a
Tuesday,
and it feels like a Monday, but it is a
Tuesday,
and that means there's an LA City Council meeting. And if there's an LA City Council meeting, you know that our buddy 3-Inch Shrimp is going to turn it into a karaoke bar.
Item 23, it is very important, is because 乌云在我们心里刻下一块阴影.
I haven't heard that song in so long.
Wait, don't cut him off. This is the first time I've heard this one. It's my favorite, my new favorite.
Now, he had other songs to play as well.
Item number 24 is very important. 在山腰间飘逸的红雨，随着北风凋零.
Voice of an angel, this guy.
Boy, it makes you want the Gong Show to come back, doesn't it?
Let's hear item 25.
Item number 25 is very important because it's I want to item number 25, no spicy. 缓缓飘落的枫叶像思念，为何赶会要赶在冬天来之前?
But of course, it wasn't all just singing from our friend 3-Inch Shrimp. This guy is a problem solver. And this guy came up with a brilliant idea of how to solve the city of Los Angeles' budget woes. Are you ready, Johnny?
I can only imagine what's coming next.
I am aware our city is currently in a budget deficit, so I'm here to have several suggestions for our council president. Council president, I understand that you are a very proud member of Black Lives Matter, part of Jason Reedy, and many of those people, they create their OnlyFans page. And then after they have their OnlyFans page, they earn millions of billions of dollars every single year. So, Council President Harry Styles, if you and the Council Member Hernandez, if you consider work together, create a monthly OnlyFans subscription, and you can create a Pornhub account, and I'm pretty sure that using your 24-inch tool, you can earn millions of billions of money, and you can use that millions of money of OnlyFans can solve the city budget problem. So I support our Council President OnlyFans.
Well, I'm sure he didn't see that one coming.
I wonder how much people would pay for a Marquise Harris Dawson and Ulysses Hernandez OnlyFans page.
And we need $1 billion, huh? Nothing close to that. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. This is going to be an odd week for us. Randy is currently in New Mexico. I am, of course, broadcasting from the Coachella Valley. We're typically on between noon and 3 in Los Angeles and San Francisco. In San Francisco, we're not on today because we're doing something with the transmitter. Is that correct?
We're moving a server, so we are running a tape up there. But people can still hear us live on the stream at KABC.com, and the podcast of today's show will, of course, go on the website.
For sure. All right, so now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, we have an update for you on a story we brought you last week involving suspected DUI of a California senator.
This, of course, is state senator from Riverside, Sabrina Cervantes, who was cited for an alleged DUI in Sacramento in the afternoon. And she claims she was accosted by the police, and she wasn't under the influence of anything and has drug tests to prove it, except those were taken a day later. We'll find out all the updates now from Fox 40 News in Sacramento.
Yes, Riley, good afternoon. And Senator Cervantes says she's been falsely accused, and now she's sharing with us these medical records. She says prove her innocence.
I want to be clear that...
Isn't this like when Jose Huizar ran into somebody and they waited about 3 or 4 hours before they could do the blood alcohol to get it down to a level where he wasn't going to get the city completely embarrassed?
Real profile and courage.
I want to be clear that I remain innocent. I have done nothing wrong.
Riverside Democratic State Senator Sabrina Cervantes with that message Friday, just days after Sacramento police cited her for a misdemeanor suspicion of driving under the influence of drugs near the state capitol. It all happened here Monday afternoon at the intersection of S and 14th Street, just blocks from the state capitol. Cervantes says she had the right of way driving through the intersection when all of a sudden another driver came from out of nowhere and hit her from the side.
She got T-boned.
So there is a war of words going on between the senator and between the police, where she says she didn't drink anything that night, and the tests that were taken 24 hours later prove that. The cops are not alleging that she was drinking and driving. That allegation was never made. They have basically been consistent saying that they believe that she was under the influence of drugs. Is that correct?
And that's what they believed when they interviewed her at the hospital that she took herself to. I don't think the police ever interacted with her at the scene of the crash.
I was T-boned by a driver who did not stop at a stop sign.
A spokesperson for the Sacramento Police Department said based on the damage to the vehicles, it appears Senator Cervantes' car was broadsided. After the incident, Cervantes went to a nearby hospital for evaluation. Sacramento police met up with her there, where, according to the department, responding officers contacted Senator Cervantes, where they observed, in their words, objective signs of intoxication and conducted a DUI investigation.
Oh, my.
Now, is it common for the cops to show up to the hospital if you leave the scene of an accident? Because if you leave the scene of an accident and your car was crunched and you go to the hospital, that seems reasonable to me. It's not like you're fleeing the state or trying to go to the airport or whatever. You're going to a hospital because you believe that you're injured.
Well, they probably wanted to interview her for a witness statement since she was the victim in the car accident, and then they realized that she was loopy and goofy.
It's so crazy, the difference between jurisdictions in the state of California, where you can get mugged, you can have a Kia go through your front wall, you call 911 in Oakland and they don't show up. They tell you to fill out a form online. But in Sacramento, you get T-boned, you go to the hospital, and the cops find you in the hospital.
From their investigation, officers issued Senator Cervantes a citation for suspicion of DUI. They later clarified Cervantes was cited for being under the influence of a drug officers believed may be a central nervous system depressant. But
is that a Xanny bar?
Could be a Xanax or could be a knockoff.
But they added details will not be confirmed until a blood test they conducted on Cervantes will come back from the lab.
If they did their own blood test, which is taking forever, probably because of budget cuts that we're seeing up and down the state of California, and Cervantes is running around with the ones that she privately paid for at Kaiser, what's going to happen when the police's blood test results show something completely different than the results she's showing?
I have a feeling that day is coming.
From the lab.
Sacramento Police Department have falsely accused me.
Cervantes provided us with her.
She's got no energy, even when trying to defend herself.
No. Maybe she's on Xanax now.
Sacramento Police Department have falsely accused me.
Cervantes provided us.
Might need some uppers, baby.
Yeah, get that woman a Coca-Cola.
Cervantes provided us with her own independent Kaiser blood and urine lab results from that day. While some of the documents are partially redacted, the non-redacted parts show...
Wait, why is she redacting things from a blood and urine test that's supposed to exonerate her?
Yeah, that's strange.
The non-redacted parts showed alcohol and drugs were undetectable in her system.
I was first being accused of being intoxicated. Lab results show no alcohol in my system. The urine lab was conducted for drug substances. Drug substances stay detectable in urine longer than in blood, and that test results also show no drugs in my system.
In her initial...
Okay, where'd she buy that stuff?
Oh, it has to be in Sonata.
You know, at the former radio station I used to work at, 97.1, the FM talk station, we actually had a client that wanted to sell fake urine.
On the radio?
Yes.
Did that cross any ethical boundaries over there?
Not in FM talk, no.
I see.
In her initial statement released after the incident Monday, Cervantes accused Sacramento police officers of, in her words, accosting her. In response, a spokesperson for the department sent us this statement, quote, "After reviewing officers' body camera footage, I did not see any indication Senator Cervantes was accosted by officers."
You know what we're going to need? We're going to need to see the damn tape.
Oh, they're going to have to put it up. She's alleging that they were abusive towards her. They said that they were perfectly professional. I tend to believe them over her, but let's find out and I'll watch together.
Well, and according to the body cam footage, that's where we're going to see the evidence that had the officer suspecting that she was under the influence of something. I need that video like yesterday.
Well, at this point, you have the statements from the police officers, which they put in the report. Obviously, by now, someone in management has gone back and reviewed the tape. A senator accused them of abusive behavior or unprofessional behavior. If a senator makes that allegation, you bet your bottom dollar they're going to go back and watch the tape. The police department is doubling down that they were perfectly polite and that she was high as a kite.
Officers conducted a thorough investigation and remained professional and respectful throughout it.
I hold myself to the highest of integrity. Anyone could speak to my character. And again,
How about your sister?
Yeah, her sister unsuccessfully ran for the state assembly. I think she has 2 or 3 DUIs.
And again, I want to make sure that my name will be vindicated. It will be cleared because I did nothing wrong.
Then she should be the first one asking to release the tape.
Yeah, let's see the tape.
And we sent the Sacramento Police Department a public records request for the responding officer's body camera footage and for the police report. No word on if and when that will be made available. Reporting live here at the state capitol, covering local news that matters, Eitan Wallace, Fox 40 News.
Eitan, the whole thing is sort of strange. We appreciate you trying to get that body camera footage and figure it out for us. Thank you.
We need that body cam.
Here's what I think is going on here. People in general are so drugged out of their minds all the time, they don't even regard Xanax as being a drug. Those are just the dolls that keep you going. And everyone's on drugs. Everyone. Some woman on an airplane that was sitting next to me threw her purse down on the seat. Like 7 or 8 pill bottles came flying out. 7 or 8 pill bottles. We're going to Las Vegas. You're traveling with Graceland? And I know they were her. She wasn't traveling with anyone else. But one woman, 7 or 8 pills? They all can't be for blood pressure. They have to have some mood-altering aspects to some of those. But here's the thing. If you are on Xanax and it hits you particularly hard, you definitely shouldn't be driving. Have you ever taken a full bar of Xanax before?
I've never taken Xanax in my life.
Okay. I had a biopsy on my face, and I was really nervous about that. So they had me take a full bar of Xanax before. They had someone else drive me. My friend drove me in for the procedure, and I was fine during the procedure. And then let me tell you, about 10 minutes after the procedure, I started to get real loopy. I was bumping into furniture. I barely knew who I was or where I was. We went to that Nicole Kidman movie where she was the boss and she was molesting all of the interns. And it turned out that there were many pornographic scenes in that movie. I fell asleep in the movie and was snoring loud during all the sex scenes. It took me a day and a half to come back to normal. I don't know if this woman was on drugs or not. I guess we'll wait until the video comes out and the police test results come out. But if Xanax hits her the same way it hits me, I can only imagine what she was like in that hospital when the police went to talk to her. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Nicholas writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Many years ago, I knew a stripper that would smoke meth from a bong in the mornings and take Xanax with some alcohol at night to put her to sleep. That's how strong Xanax is. It can put you to sleep when you're on meth.
Good to know. And Randy, if you missed a show from last week or the week before that or the week before that, you want to find out what you missed out on, that's easy to do.
Maybe you want to listen to all of our coverage of the 2026 governor's race. Well, all you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
iHeartRadio, Spotify.
Scrub it.
You could download all the episodes there. You can go to KABC.com, KSFO.com, get all the podcasts of everyone who's running for governor.
Oh, peanut.
Including that guy.
And right now it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And this edition takes us to downtown L.A.,
where an unruly mob graffitied a whole bunch of metro cars, graffitied police cars, threw bottles at police officers, caused a whole bunch of mayhem, and nobody got arrested.
Wait, I think you described it wrong. That was a peaceful protest.
Apparently it was a bunch of people at a rowdy punk show on the rooftop of a building in downtown L.A.
Sounds peaceful to me.
For more, let's get a lay of the land from KCAL.
Turning now to a mob of people rampaging through downtown LA, tagging police cars and vandalizing metro trains.
KCAL News reporter Lauren Posen is downtown with the video and the damage left behind.
How's this car-free Olympics going to work in 3 years?
It's going to be a mess.
There's a lot of damage, and while it may look like this is a deserted strip mall, it's not. There's businesses here, and nearly every single business you're looking at has freshly tagged graffiti right on it. And so while this is where it all ended, it actually started right across the street from where we are. Pure mayhem in downtown Los Angeles. A huge mob of people started tagging whatever and wherever they could Saturday night.
It was the graffiti-thon.
Well, if no one's going to get arrested, why not?
A huge mob of people started tagging whatever and wherever they could Saturday night on Trinity Avenue near Washington Boulevard. Watch as a group begins spray painting 2 Metro trains. Metro says around 50 people blocked the train's path, tagging not only the outside but the inside of one of the trains too.
Couldn't the train just run them over? Seriously, if you're going to stand on the train tracks, then you should expect the train to come run you over.
How about the fact that they tagged the inside?
They pretty much got it all.
A patrol car was also hit as the officer tried to drive away. A person who witnessed the chaos says it happened right after LAPD shut down a rooftop event.
There was a show by Dead City Punk, and there was easily over like 3,000 people there. And we were on top of a park.
This dog does not like this reporter.
No, he doesn't.
And we were on top of a parking lot. So what ended up happening is that it got too crazy. It got too crowded.
Okay, where's Christy Nome when you need her?
That's mean.
That dog was getting real annoying.
One person at the show shared this video that shows what he's talking about.
There was people with hairsprays, and then they had like a lighter, so it was kind of like a flamethrower, basically.
Whoa!
That sounds very peaceful.
LAPD showed up in riot gear and declared an unlawful assembly, but the crowd didn't back down.
The reason why the cops started pushing forward is because people were messing with the cops. They were antagonizing them. They threw fireworks at them. They were throwing water bottles, beer cans, anything.
How does none of this lead to anybody getting arrested?
Well, that's accountability, Randy.
Anything you can think of. They were throwing stuff.
Witnesses say police fired rubber bullets at the crowd, which eventually cleared out. People who were there admit it did get out of control, but they also say that's part of the appeal of these shows.
Getting shot with rubber bullets is part of the appeal?
Well, this is what the down-ass kids like.
The neighborhood kids, the down-ass kids don't like it.
They need to get a new hobby.
That's kind of like the energy of those type of shows. People are just going to go there to just let out all the frustration and anger that they have built from life, family, society. There was a lot of...
They're just venting their anger while they're defacing public property and trashing cop cars and metro trains.
Okay, here's some advice, buddy. The next time you need to blow off some steam, why don't you head down to the driving range and hit a bucket of golf balls?
There was a lot of damage done, and that wasn't right.
Metro says no one was hurt, but service was delayed about 20 minutes. No arrest either, but police tell us they're investigating. Reporting in downtown Los Angeles, Lauren Posen, KCAL News.
I can just imagine it now. 3 years from now, the Olympics are happening, the car-free Olympics. Everyone is encouraged to take Metro, take it from LAX all the way to downtown LA, and your train gets taken over by a mob of thugs who start graffitiing everything, including your face.
And the cops don't arrest anyone because they know the city council doesn't want them to.
And that's what now has Karen Bass asking questions. Why wasn't anybody arrested? I want to hold people accountable.
Because you don't want them arrested too. You may pretend like you do after the fact, but if there was a confrontation between a cop and one of these people destroying public property, I know which side you'd be on.
For more on Karen Bass's response to this violent mob insanity in downtown LA, here's ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Now at 11, the mayor of Los Angeles calling for action tonight over the destructive vandalism over the weekend. Up to 1,000 people involved in the chaos in downtown LA. Some officers even assaulted, but no one was arrested. Tonight, Mayor Karen Bass vowing to hold whoever is responsible accountable.
There's the word.
Okay, but it didn't happen. They all went home. No one got arrested. How are you going to find them now?
I know that it is a holiday week and maybe some people are off work, but do not play the accountability drinking game as we do this next story. It is not safe.
Accountability, accountability, accountability.
Okay, if you play the accountability drinking game, would you have more drinks now while you're playing the game than we had yesterday in the pool?
That's not a safe amount to be consuming on any day.
Good advice.
Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher live with what the mayor's saying, plus new details on the people involved in that mayhem. Michelle.
Well, Mark, we know Mayor Karen Bass had a detailed briefing today with Police Chief Jim McDonnell about the incident. She said she wanted to speak with him directly about why no arrests were made Sunday. But
Gee, I wonder why that could be.
Yeah, it's almost as if there's a city that doesn't back up the cops when it hits the fan. The cops understand this. They don't even want to build jails to put the people who get arrested in. It appears as if the cops can see and hear what's going on around them.
But for anyone out there who was involved who may be thinking that they've gotten away with this, the mayor tonight saying, not so fast.
What are you going to do now? Start pulling the licenses for those concerts? That's about all you can do.
They already aren't licensed.
I was about to say, the rooftop of a building seems like an odd place for a concert. What do you think the bathroom situation was up there?
You just go over the edge.
It was just pandemonium. Everybody just, went berserk.
This Memorial Day weekend mayhem, prompting a strong rebuke from LA Mayor Karen Bass, who tonight is calling for those involved to be arrested and prosecuted.
It is unacceptable under any and all circumstances. And those people that perpetrated this have to be held accountable.
That's one.
To the full extent of the law.
The mayor's comments coming after the destructive scene broke out over the long holiday weekend just south of downtown Los Angeles. It was shortly after midnight Sunday when Los Angeles police say they received a call about a large group disturbance at Trinity and East Washington Boulevard. That's where more than 1,000 people had gathered for an unpermitted party at an abandoned warehouse.
Unpermitted party at an abandoned warehouse. What kind of fire risk do you think was going on there?
Apparently these things happen every weekend.
So you pack 3,000 people in a building that's not meant for that, and you bring flamethrowers and fireworks with you.
Well, of course.
at an abandoned warehouse. As officers arrived, things escalated. The out-of-control vandals tagging businesses, a police vehicle, and the interior and exterior of 2 Metro A-line trains. No passengers or operators were hurt, but service was delayed for 20 minutes. Police in riot gear eventually moving in, firing rubber bullets after issuing multiple warnings to disperse.
Now, do they have somebody saying on the loudspeaker that it's your final warning, or do you think they actually take the Janice Hahn drop and just play that over the loudspeaker?
That's your final warning.
By the way, I saw her. She was on the Mark Brown Public Affairs program on ABC7 this weekend. I think Janice got a facelift. There was not a line on her forehead. Not one.
The mayor's office reporting the crowd even assaulted some officers, with one requiring medical attention.
How does that not get any arrests?
You'd think it would.
After being struck in the face with a bottle.
We cannot do this. We cannot do this in our city. And it has to be stopped. We have to be very aggressive about it because we will never send the signal.
Oh, she pounded the podium.
She means it.
Because we will never send the signal that maybe this is acceptable behavior.
It's completely acceptable behavior. It's downtown Los Angeles. Do you understand the city you're in charge of?
Where were the safety ambassadors? That's what I'd like to know.
And you saw some of the images there.
They probably were the ones with the flamethrowers.
And you saw some of the images there in that video. Exactly no word right now on just how much damage was done, but this is an active and ongoing investigation with surveillance footage being reviewed to identify those responsible. The mayor saying she'll work with the city attorney and district attorney to make sure whoever is responsible is held accountable.
Drink. There we go.
Reporting live tonight in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Michelle Fisher, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Michelle. There you go. Karen Bass's response to the insanity that took place in downtown LA this weekend.
All right, Randy, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And this edition takes us to Pasadena.
There was a crazy man who called the cops on himself outside of the Apple store with lots of cases of guns, and he got a tackling. For more, here's KTLA.
Only on 5, a terrifying encounter outside a local Apple store with a man armed with assault rifles on a Pasadena street this morning.
A witness thought they had walked onto the set of a movie being filmed. The reality was horrifying, and our KTLA crew was right in the middle of it all. KTLA's Rachel Menitoff joins us live from Pasadena with how it all went down. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Court. Hi, Micah. Yes, it was a scary moment for my colleagues who were out here covering an unrelated story when a man with two...
You know, that happens way too often. They're setting up for something else, probably some story about the weather or some story about a Pasadena parade. And right behind them in the camera shot is another act of violent crime.
That's a twofer. You get to do your report on the weather and the report on the crazy man.
2 suitcases filled with guns showed up. He said one of them had an AR-15. You can probably tell the Apple store here behind us was not able to open today. Its employees understandably shaken. And we don't know what this man's motive was. We did overhear him on the phone with police saying he was in the midst of a custody battle and having a mental health crisis.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a real good idea. Have a mental breakdown in public after packing like you're the Las Vegas shooter.
I've been trying to report attempted murder and get law enforcement to help me.
This man, who identifies himself to law enforcement as Stephen Jensen, showed up in Old Town Pasadena and unloaded a case filled with military-grade rifles. All the while, KTLA reporter Kimberly Chang and photojournalist Andre Cox were setting up for another news story when their camera filmed the encounter. Tourists visiting from the UK admitted they thought they were walking into a Hollywood movie shoot before realizing the gravity of what was happening.
I'm going to guess they're not coming back.
Nope. Next time they come to the States, they're going to go to Idaho.
Thought, it must be a movie set. But then he seemed really angry and agitated, and we thought, oh gosh. So we started walking off. So I thought, I'm not going to get shot. Don't fancy that today.
I don't fancy getting shot.
Yeah, pip, pip, cheerio.
I have been streaming on YouTube and I'm on my way here. Don't you police tend to monitor social media?
The man appears to be on the phone with a dispatcher.
Calling 911 in multiple jurisdictions. Hi, ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Now, I know the voice is very high-pitched, but this is a man. But he was wearing a very strange shirt that said something like gender doesn't matter.
I was about to say, that sounds like a woman.
Hi, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. These are my guns. Would you like to see them?
Whoa.
Yeah, you can get in trouble for that.
Would you like to see them? I have an AR-15.
Admitting that he's carrying a host of large weapons and is parked in front of the Apple store in Pasadena.
Like then we heard him counting. He went, "I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guns." And I looked down at the floor and I saw the guns. I was like, "Oh my god, okay, let's move on." So that's when we started running. Then he started like shouting at us as we was walking past. So we were like, "Okay, let's just get away a bit quicker."
These two are going to go back to the UK and being like, Old Town Pasadena is a bit dodgy.
Wait, so the one who sounds like the woman was the one that brought all the guns?
Yes, that's the crazy person.
And what shirt were they wearing?
I have to look it up. Let me see if I can look it up in the video. So let me go to KTLA. And because it's a big guy in a big purple shirt. Okay, this is a couple of days ago.
Remember that episode of Seinfeld where the man sounded like a woman and they mistook him for a woman on the phone, and that led to all kinds of shenanigans?
Oh, yeah. That was a classic. Okay, I pulled up the video. KTLA encounters man armed with guns in Pasadena. Okay, his shirt says, "Love beyond gender."
You know, when I was a child, I had no problem identifying everyone's gender. And now I feel like for certain age groups, it's a trick question.
Our crews called 911. Pasadena police showed up within 2 minutes and detained the man after a brief scuffle to the ground.
They had to body slam him, do a little suplex.
Down for the 3 count.
And this is why you don't fight the police!
After a few minutes, I go, "Oh my God, I'm glad I'm alive."
My iPhone 16 Pro Max has been hacked.
Authorities say Jensen has...
Wait, he's doing all this because he thinks his phone's been hacked?
I think this individual has a lot of problems. All right, just another totally normal day here in the asylum.